Welcome to Soto Creations, where we make your imagination a reality. Today I am going to show you how I create more of a structured balloon garland. It is a Debbie method. If you don't know Debbie, she's on Instagram. That's how I found her. I don't know if she's on YouTube or not, but I watched one of her tutorials and she explains how she does this. I think it's a fantastic method, but you have to use a balloon sizer. So it takes a little bit more time because you need a sizer, but if you were doing the columns, you would use a sizer anyway. So I'm going to show you how to do this method and explain to you how to do it. This is the first time I'm doing it, so hopefully it turns out as beautiful as hers. She's so creative and so talented in what she does. So I'll link her channel below if you guys don't know who she is. But I have all these bins behind me. We're gonna do another video. I have a few things set up for several videos, but we're gonna make a centerpiece. This garland is gonna go in front of our furniture store for the fall, but also I want to change the dining set they have up front so that it's set up for Thanksgiving as well. So we're gonna do this because they're closed. We won't be able to set it up today, but I'll show you on this same video how I set everything up and change the front from that spring and summer theme. I'm kind of behind on everything, but I'm thankful you guys are patient. If this is your first time tuning in, don't forget to click that subscribe button and like the video if it's something you like, and check out our other videos. So let's get on with this tutorial.
I'm starting by assembling my balloon sizer. If you saw me do my balloon bag supply organization, the bag that's on the right there that looks like a carry-on, then you would have seen my balloon sizer. I showed you all the supplies that I use for balloons, or the basic supplies you need. But I usually have this in the 6 pieces that it comes in, and I just tuck it towards
my
the back.
sizer here. When you put it together right, it's really stable. You can see I'm pressing on it and it doesn't come apart. I took some notes while I watched the tutorial so that I'm able to really explain how I do this for you guys to be able to do the same. So let's get started with inflating. Actually, let me show you the colors. Cameo in 11 inches. We have goldenrod 11 inches. I have navel 11 inches by Tuftex, and this one Aloha. Thought this would be a nice break of fall colors. I didn't want to use brown, but this I'm gonna use 11 and 17 inches to inflate these. So let's get started.
If you assemble your balloon sizer right, it should be fairly sturdy, and you should be good with sizing your balloons. I've tried in the past to use a shortcut and it makes the work take longer, but I'm starting out with aloe here. I have 17 inches and 11 inches, and I'm sizing the 17 inches to 10 and the 11 or 12 inches to 8, and we're pairing those together. Now you do want the sizer, unless you're really good at eyeballing, because this will make a difference in how even your garland looks. So I'm saying bye to Richard because he's leaving for the night. The other thing is, with this garland, you do want your balloons to be round. So I'm making sure once I inflate, I compress them to get them rounded before I size it. Otherwise, you'll size it and it'll be kind of that oval shape. So I'm looking for the next size, which would be for the goldenrod. And at this point, we're just creating pairs in same colors. So the goldenrod calls for 7.5. My sizer is not big enough to have half sizes, so I'm gonna inflate this to a 7 and have 5 pairs of this. So this goldenrod is gonna pair with the Aloha. So you want the colors to alternate for this one, and you'll understand why as we continue to design. So I'm slowing down to kind of show you how I alternate the colors. The design just reminds me of creating the spiral columns of how you alternate, but the strategy here is to make sure several balloons are aligned so you get that design. We're moving on with the navel here. I have 11 inches. I'm sizing to 6. This we're going to create more than we did with the quad for the aloha and goldenrod, because this specific pair or this quad of balloons is going to be our nestle balloon. So it's gonna nestle the aloha quads together. Then moving on to the cameo in 11 inch, we're sizing it to a 7, and we're creating again 7 of those to match the navel, and these are gonna crisscross with the navel, except this time we want the navel on the bottom and the cameo towards the top. All this will make sense once we start putting everything together. So I'm twisting it. In the meantime, I'm showing you here how they're paired together instead of alternating the pattern. So now we're going to work on assembling all this together. Since we have all our pieces, you take your, I'll say aloha so you know which one I'm working on. Then you're going to put that nestled into this other quad. So pretty much you have a cluster of 8 balloons and you're just alternating those two together. So switching the navel to the bottom, then you're going to fit that right over it like so. So that's what we're working on right there. You could either tie them together, you could use fishing line, by tying together I mean using the necks, or you can use fishing line, or you can use 260Q balloons. I'm going to use a combination of the 260Q and tying the necks together for this design. For the 260Q, you want to pull the rubber band, the 260Q, getting all the air out and tie the end. I'll do a close-up here so you can see the difference between the 260Q, which is supposed to look flat like this. It ends up being more of a rope and it's stretchier than when it's not flattened out. So that's the difference right there. Once you have that made, you have what we call a rope, and you're just going to tie it to your first cluster, double knot it a couple of times. Once it's steady, then we're just going to use that pulling through and wrapping around. And this is also how you can form your garlands, organic garlands. Some people asked in the past how I can assemble a garland without having to tie because it hurts their fingers. This is how. So now we're just wrapping that around and adding each piece. We're getting towards where it's getting shorter. So once it gets short, then you just double knot at the end, and then you have that piece of your garland. But can you see how the colors are alternating and all aligned? That is the structured garland that we're going for. So I have that piece, and now we're moving on to another set, which here you can just intertwine and it's connected together, except the error I made here is my big balloon is on the same side as the navel. I'm going to twist that around so that the navel is below on the smaller aloha that we inflated to 8 instead of the one that's inflated to 10. So I just twisted everything around and made sure they're aligned again, and we'll continue with the navel on the bottom, which means on the smaller aloha balloon. Now I'm going to use my necks to tie the next quads together. With this, I'm going with the navel pulled from the bottom, wrapped through the middle of the top balloon and tying. So that's another way you can just keep everything tight. I'm going to repeat the same thing here, pulling the neck from the bottom of the garland through to the middle there and just tying that as well. Now I noticed that I need another cluster of balloons. These two are going to connect together, so I just use the neck to tie both together, which is what you can do as well. So several ways you can tie this together, but that is what the garland looks like right now. We're going to attach our last piece, which I need to inflate another set of the aloha balloons because I didn't have that. And then we're going to just make sure it's sized as usual to the 8 and the 10. Tie that together, and then we're going to do the same for the goldenrod because you need that quad to be able to form the full garland. So doing that, and then we're going to connect those two together, and then we'll have our final garland. I had to add that one because I plan to do either hello or fall and design it that way for the front of the furniture store, just to do like a bit of a welcome thing for the fall. So here we go.
So we have our garland complete. I'm gonna put fall in the middle. That's why I added an extra one. And then we're going to make our centerpiece for that table that's gonna go up front. So let me go get my floral, what is it called, to cut the wire, and I'll be back.
I picked the acrylic stand for this design because I wanted something that wouldn't stand out as much yet have kind of that rustic look. This stand comes with crystals that hang from the top towards the bottom, but I'm not going to use that here. I have these florals that I bought a couple of years ago to do a design for a bridal show, and I didn't use them, so I'm going to put this to use here. Again, with this design, I'm kind of designing as I go. I don't necessarily have a set plan in mind, except the fact that I want to create a fall centerpiece. So this is kind of rustic. I have a bag of pampas grass in that black bag on the floor there, thinking I'll use it, but we'll just design and see how things go. Here I'm just spreading out the florals that I have. These are dried. They kind of look like wheat or hay mixed with the rustic kind of fall flowers, which I really like. So I'm just fanning everything out and cutting the stems down, because I notice if I don't cut them down, one, it'll be too tall, and second of all, it'll extend way past where I want it to be, because this stand has that base that I glued the round floral foam to, so I don't want it to be too tall. So I cut some of the stems lower, and I also count how many of these florals I have because it's limited, so I need to make sure it'll be enough for the design. And in order to make it work, the only way was to put the one in the middle at the top and then fan out 5 of them all around, making sure that they're dangling down, so you can kind of see the orange extending down to create that nice flow with the floral centerpiece. So again, trying to make sure they're all cut to the same height, because I do want the flowers to end up looking like a dome over that acrylic stand. Once I have all 5 around, I'm left with 2, which are my filler. Ideally, I would have loved to have maybe 4, but I only have 2, so I'm just gonna fan the 2 out like so, and then just put it towards the middle to fill that left side and another to fill the right side. So the front and back won't have anything, but that's okay, because we have quite a few of these brown leaves that we're going to add through just to give that fall feel and to fill the whole garland together. So I'm gonna fill this quite a bit with the fall leaves, and then we'll move on to our next one. I really liked how this centerpiece turned out, because again, I didn't really have a set plan. I have 4 different bins of fall flowers that I had to work with. It was just about putting it together and designing, and I'm glad I started out with this bright orange. I still don't know how I'm gonna set up my table, but eventually I'll get that done. So if this is your first time tuning in, you've seen balloons, you've seen florals, I pretty much show you how I design different things, whether it's decorating my house or decorating for events that I've been hired to decorate for. I take you along, and with our event center, I show you how I set up the decor if I'm hired to decorate for events there as well. So that's what this channel is about. If that's what you're interested in, or you like what you've been seeing so far, please consider clicking that subscribe button. And if for all of you watching, please like the video. That really supports my channel and helps me to grow and know what exactly you want to watch in the videos. I know in the past people haven't really seen don't watch a lot of the floral arrangement, but lately I had someone ask me to do a more detailed or slowed down version of the floral arrangement. So it's hard for me to really know exactly what you guys like watching. Sometimes the balloons do really well, sometimes the full decor does, or the drapes do well. So I just keep doing and showing you what I like. I'm adding these tan hydrangea. As I was editing, it reminded me of that cameo balloon color. So I would say, I guess, the cameo hydrangea. The good thing about these hydrangea is they're not as big as my other ones that I usually use for fillers that are white in a lot of the tutorials. So it works well to just add that texture into the floral arrangement, yet not be too big, because I don't want to lose the colors of the fall, which is that brown and the burnt orange. So I put those in to fill the gaps, making sure I'm checking from the bottom as well, so that that floral foam is completely hidden in the garland. I'm trying to figure out if I should add these yellow mums or not, and I end up, of course, going with this white. So it's kind of a, well, not white, cream color sunflowers or daisies. So those work really well to add a lighter color and brighten the garland, because everything was really dark and dull with the fall colors. And I think this adds not only a pop of brightness, but also it adds that dimension, because the spots on these really stand out. So I'm just filling that in, and we'll be done here with this garland, and I'll show you how I set up the front and set up the whole balloon, hang the balloon, and also how I do the table setup. So I'm thinking if I should put something on the bottom or just leave that. I love it, I really do. This makes me so happy, being the first day of November. Once I set the table, I'll decide what I want to do, because I'm gonna bring some pumpkins to add. Sorry, I got something in my eye. I'm gonna bring some pumpkins to add on the table, and then we'll go from there. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, and we'll finalize everything. Thank you. Good morning, I'm back at it again. I want to show you guys how I cut out the letters hello. First I was gonna do fall, and then I changed my mind. So I'm gonna do hello on the yellow balloons. This goldenrod. So we're gonna do hello and then put a leaf. I technically should have added another cluster so that I have a leaf on both sides, but it's okay. We're gonna make this work. Then I have these leaves that I'm gonna put inside. Okay, so this is where we're putting the balloons. I actually want to put it higher so that that camera, we'll see. I'm gonna get some pins, and then we're gonna change this spring setup here as well. So something more fall, and we'll pull all this glassware. So I'm gonna move things around, and then I'll show you guys how I hang. I'm gonna pop all this off camera. Okay, now it's time to set up. I have these pins that are the easiest way I can think of to hang this garland. So I'm gonna use that rubber band, not go looping around it, but wrapping it around and sliding one end through the other end. It'll come off, but just bear with me. You'll see at the end what it looks like. If you've done this before, you probably already know what I'm doing. So you slide that through like so, making sure it doesn't come out of the pin. So I have my serious face here and my mouth ready to show you exactly how I'm doing it. So I'm gonna do that, wrap it around again, and then pull. You want to pull till it's nice and tight so it doesn't slip off. That's what you're gonna get at the end. So that rubber band is what you're gonna loop around the balloon that you want to hold in place. So we're gonna put that on the wall. The reason I'm doing this is because the command hooks, because the wall is textured, is not gonna work on the wall. So I decide to go with the rubber band. Now I find my center point. You can see with the yellow balloons that I have 3 on each side. So I'm gonna use that cameo in the middle there to hang the first part of the garland. I try to do that, and that pin comes off, so I have to find it from inside, and it came off because I was tugging on it to put the rubber band on. So now I was able to find it without popping the balloon and pin it back in the wall. That held it in place. Because I'm already here, I decide to put the rest on both sides, and then we're going to add our words as well. I didn't want to put the words. Some people might think, why didn't you put the words? Because sometimes when you hang the balloon up, you have to make sure your words will show depending on the angle from which people come into the door. So I didn't want to put the words too low or too high where it doesn't show. So while I have the ladder here, I'm putting my leaf that I cut out, and then we're gonna work on the L and the O. I keep stepping back to see how it looks so that it's centered or it looks okay. I didn't want to lower it more because I want that light. I don't want the light hidden underneath the balloons, and I also don't want the camera hidden. So I have my L and my O. Now we'll move the ladder, pin that left side, and also start working on the letters for this part. Again, I'm making sure that they're centered enough where you can read it coming in. But I just used the vinyl, my Cricut, to cut this out, and it made it so much easy. First, I thought I would have to use my transfer, but it was easy to just peel and stick. Now we're adding the fall leaves just to create that contrast, and I like how all of it looks with these fall colors because it has some yellow, it pulls that orange, yet it's a different shade of orange, and that cameo kind of neutralizes everything while the navel gives it just the darkness without it being too overwhelming. We're onto the table now. Stay tuned for the final pictures. I have this green runner. It's kind of a pattern green, and I have the boho placemats that I bought from the spring sale a couple of years ago at Hobby Lobby. I've never used it. I have these placemats that we're gonna put on both ends that are different. Gold charger plates, but they're that deep gold color. We have our gold silverware. I'm just using 3 pieces here. Then we're going to fold our napkins and make them look like a pocket so that we can add more to it later. So once they're all folded, we're gonna put on each place, and then we will add our leaves. So I have 2 colors of leaves. We're just sliding it in that pocket. If I had time, I would have written little notes to put like a thank you note or some names and slide that in. Then we have glassware, and of course we're going to add our centerpiece that we made just now right in the middle. Can you tell now why I went with the neutral color? Then we can't do everything without adding that fall pumpkin. I don't know why I still have the tag on this, but I do. Should cut that off. I've had that for 2 years and I do this every year. So that pumpkin says gather, so I turn that to face the room, and then we're pretty much done. Thanks for watching. Here are some pictures. Don't forget to subscribe.